This is take 2 of this video. I decided to pay a bill first and had some other technical issues with the first take. One of the nice things I like about this very interesting and strange ASMR thing is that rambling is beneficial. I've been doing YouTube a very long time, and you're used to wanting to truncate what you say, whereas the viewer for an ASMR video, the longer you speak, the better. This was a rough take this evening too, because I was very angry because I made a mixtape on I wish I brought it up here with me. We Are Rewind cassette deck, or it's a Walkman or a portable cassette deck. For those of you who are probably in your 20s and have no idea what the hell I'm holding, I'm 43, and for a good portion of my life from the 80s into, let's say, the 97, then I switched over to mini discs. I'll have a picture of those up on the screen, where it was a small magneto-optical disc and you had these super small recorders and you recorded your music digitally. I remember that was such a watershed moment for me. Anyway, but I decided I have a We Are Rewind portable cassette recorder and player. And I was like, let me see what this thing is really made of in terms of recording. I didn't expect much from it. It's not like it's going to have Dolby on there. There is no Dolby noise reduction. If you buy a new, that's something you could still do. Companies like TAC, I own one. Tascam, TAC is the same company essentially. I have a Tascam as well, new. They don't have Dolby on them anymore. Dolby is no longer being made, because who's really buying cassette decks? There's a niche market, and like I said, you could still buy new ones. But it's not enough for Dolby to keep creating noise reduction and licensing it anyway. Put this tape down quietly. Tapes can be very loud and jostle around. Anyway, so I made a mixtape on there just to see what it sounds like, and I will say, for what that is, it sounded okay. You know, I listen to a lot of hip-hop and rap. I listen to everything. I'm a huge fan of video game soundtracks, Elden Ring especially, Castlevania especially. I listen to classical music. I listen to one of my favorite bands of all time, across any genre, is Radiohead, which is rock. But I made this mixtape and it came out really good. I had underground artists like Ito on there. ETO. That's how you spell his name. Vel9. She's a female rapper out of, I believe, California. And she's nice. A really young dude named Lord Sco. I had some instrumentals on there from The Alchemist. It came out okay. If you're my age, you'll understand this. Go back to 1992 and think of like an upper end, like a mid upper end mid range boom box, like a mid. I can't talk today. Like it's average, but it's like more on the more expensive side of average. You would be spending like $200 on this boombox. And that's what the tape sounded like. They don't have I believe it's called a DC bias head for erasing the tapes. It's just a magnet they use. And in the boom boxes and the new We Are Rewind cassette deck, they would have this magnet that would erase the tape for you. So if you were re-recording a tape, it would erase what was on there. The electromagnetic heads, I think that's the way you say it. If I'm wrong about what terms I'm using here, this is all random that I'm thinking of this, would decrease the noise you would hear significantly. The basic magnet heads in a cassette deck or a boombox, if you recorded tapes on there, was noisy, and it had more background noise, significantly more. And this is what the We Are Rewind sounds like. It sounds like the typical mixtape you would get back in the day from a majority of different cassette recorders that were what most people had. Most people weren't getting audiophile stuff. They were getting a radio, like Sound Design. Remember that brand? If you're old like me, they had the fake component systems where they would just make it look like it had different, like a CD player, a tape deck, a turntable. And what they would do to make it seem like you were getting more and you were getting components, they were all attached together because they weren't actually components, but they would put the fake feet between each of them. So it looked like something more expensive. Point being is that there We Are Rewind portable cassette deck, which is being made now. It's new. It even has Bluetooth. I'm not recommending it. I'm kind of mixed on it. However, it did make a pretty decent tape, and I put a bunch of different artists on there. Like I said, Ito, Vel 9, that super young dude out of Washington Heights called Lord Sco. I listened to Griselda, Conway was on there. I had a beat from The Alchemist, and it took some time to make that tape. It took like an hour and a half to make it. And it sounded decent, and it was like, all right, cool, you know. Tapes from this We Are Rewind portable cassette player and recorder are tolerable. Good stereo separation too. Then I lost the tape. I have no idea where that tape is. I have no idea what the hell happened to it. So that was my mindset starting off to make this ASMR video. So go me. Anyway, enough about me complaining about things you really don't care about. My name is Rich. I have been doing YouTube too long. I tripped into this as a living. I'm not going into all that. It's not the reason that I'm here anyway. I have been an ASMR viewer since, gotta itch my ear. I was trying to ignore that, but I failed miserably. I have been a viewer of ASMR since when I was working a regular job. That was back in 2013. How the hell did I get into ASMR? So I've been listening. So think about it. It's been over a decade, 12 plus years that I've been listening to ASMR, excuse me. On and off, but more on than off. Now, what the hell got me into it? Now, if you really want to go back in time, I never got tingles. I don't get any of that stuff, but I remember watching Bob Ross, the painter, his show. The name of his show is failing to come to me right now because this is kind of a random thought, but Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. There it is, The Joy of Painting. I remember watching that as a kid and being like, man, this dude's voice is relaxing me. And I was like 7 or 8, about the same time I had discovered rap and hip hop. And I'm like, wow, this is like really relaxing. And his voice was so smooth and like soothing. And I remember just like, oh man, I wish I had this to go to sleep to. This was as a kid thinking that. Anyway, let's go back now to 2013. I had a night shift job at a gym, which you would think, well, yes, I'm serious, at a gym. Secondly, you would think that would be the easiest gig in the world, right? Which now, because the tech has changed, it is easy. All like the clerical crap they used to have me do with memberships and organizing them and crunching numbers, and which I'm awful at to begin with. So doing it as a job like that when it was intense was insane. But all that stuff, now you hit a damn button and it does it all for you. Back then, they were actually transitioning over to that system, but not yet when I was there. They were talking about it. They were excited about it. They were looking forward to going to that system, but it wasn't there yet. Needless to say, because that system didn't exist yet, the night shift job was an absolute hell. You would be sitting there with mounds of paperwork, and there would be more people that would come in at night than you would think to the gym. People would want to use the tanning beds. People would have questions they would want to ask. You would get phone calls. You would deal with miserable people. And you had to do this. It was stressful as hell. I've worked more demanding jobs than that, and I would take those, if I had to choose between them, over this gym night shift manager clerical job any day of the week. The job was so bad that the stress from it made me wake up in the middle of a severe panic attack. Like, I would try to sleep during the day, which I can't do. I'm recording this at 2 a.m., but there's a difference between going to bed at like 2:30, which I plan on doing after I record this raw video, then going to bed when the sun's coming up. It's a terrible feeling. There's some people I know in real life that love night shift jobs. They prefer them. And I know other people, it's not just me. There's some people that are just not built, like your body just doesn't acclimate to being up during the night. And I guess I was one of those people. So because of this, I would wake up 2 a.m. or actually I would wake up, my middle of the night was my daytime. I'd wake up mid-sleep, full-on panic attack, heart racing. Imagine waking up and already being in the panic attack. So I was like, what the hell do I do? I was even getting them at work as well. I would feel them come on. It was like a wave crashing into you. And it was uncontrollable. And the next thing you know, you were shaking. You would be in a cold sweat. And I was like, this is insane. I was like, one, this job gotta go. Thankfully, I tripped into this insane YouTube thing, never thinking it would be a job, but it ended up being a job. Happened in the nick of time too. I don't know how much longer I could have handled that gig. But needless to say, going back, what does this have to do with ASMR? I would try to find like calming videos. So the first thing I remember doing was looking for Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting episodes, and you couldn't really, above the table, I should say, find them. I even tried looking on the internet, admittedly, see if I could download them. Wasn't going to happen, wasn't a thing. I couldn't easily find them. So I started looking on YouTube, like, it wasn't soft-spoken yet. It was like soothing voice. And so but before that, I would look up different terms, found nothing. Obviously, like I said, Bob Ross. There was nothing really on YouTube either. So I looked up soothing voice, and the first thing that popped up was, and she's still wildly successful now, gentle whispering. And I'm like, what the hell is this channel? Gentle whispering? And I clicked on the channel, and if you've watched her YouTube videos, if you're watching my ASMR video, I'm sure you know who she is. I would say she's the most successful, if not one of the most successful ASMR artists on here. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. And the thing I like about Maria is she's a beautiful woman, but she doesn't, I guess you could say, sexualize her content. It's just about her voice. It's just about the atmosphere. She has excellent quality audio. One thing with me, and look, it's kind of a strange thing to say in an ASMR video, but I might as well be fully transparent. I like big boobs as much as the next guy, but not in my ASMR videos. That when I see that, that's not what I'm going to ASMR for. There's other websites for that. I go to ASMR to relax. I'm not into the role playing. I'm not looking for a voluptuous woman. I mean, if she has a soothing voice on top of it, that's a benefit, but that's not like if I tune into an ASMR video and it's like a woman sucking on an ice pop, I'll turn it right off. I have no interest in that. So that was the one thing I liked about Maria, is that it was just that she has an excellent calming voice. Her sound quality is one of the best, second to none. And then I found so many more ASMR artists that Ephemeral Rift, and there's other names that I can't think of right now. There's ones that have come and gone too that used to make a ton of ASMR content and they just stopped uploading. Some of them were some of the best ASMR videos ever from a decade ago. I'll still go back to them if I'm looking to listen to a video like that and go to sleep. But man, ASMR helped me out when I was in a rough spot at that job. It mitigated my panic attacks. It helped asleep. It was an amazing thing. And while I was at that job, excuse my language, it saved my ass. It did. So it's weird now. I used to have a YouTube channel, a big one, but it's gone now. I did a couple ASMR videos there, but I don't think they're up to snuff. I don't think they're the quality that I would like. This channel, I want to step up the quality. I know I'm not a beautiful woman, so that's not going to be a selling point here. But I do know that I love ASMR. I know a lot of people think it's weird, but that's fine because I'm weird. You could think I'm weird for doing ASMR. That's fine because I'm weird. So it fits me perfectly. Is this channel parody? No. But I'm going to have fun with it. I'm not going to take this too seriously. And the primary focus of this channel, in case you simply tuned in because of the title, my first ASMR video, is doing kind of overviews and talking about tech like this. This is a Game Boy Color clone made by Mod Retro. It's called the Mod Retro Chromatic. This isn't an emulation device. This actually uses something called an FPGA. I'm not going to go into too many technical details now. I don't even understand the full scope of what an FPGA is, but it doesn't use emulation. It has a chip in there that can be programmed to simulate the original hardware of a Game Boy or a Super Nintendo. Analog is a company that makes these. They made a Super Nintendo FPGA clone called the Super NT. They had a Sega Genesis FPGA clone called the Mega SG. They're also coming out with a Nintendo 64 FPGA. They're coming out. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff I want to talk about. And like I said, this Game Boy clone, fun fact, is actually the guy who made this company, Palmer Luckey. Lucky Palmer? Palmer Luckey, I think, is the same guy who founded Oculus, which is now the Meta. Facebook bought Oculus, which was the VR company that Palmer Luckey started. If I'm saying his name backwards, my apologies. And they bought it from him, and now he's set for life, and he made this company where they're making this high-end Game Boy Color FPGA clone. It's a cold to the touch. Is it made of magnesium, maybe? It's not plastic, that's for damn sure. The screen is sapphire, so it's very scratch resistant. And the cool thing is, man, I'm rambling right now. Even this is not plastic. The battery door is, you could put double A's in here. So this isn't a planned obsolescence. All right, cool. It's down. Product. I'm not going to turn it on right now, but, or can I? Nah, anyway, I'm on green screen. So that's going to be my primary focus here. I'll do a video on the Switch 2 actually on my main channel called Rich Tomorrow, but also on here, an ASMR version. I'll talk about old retro audio tech or even new audio tech, like the We Are Rewind cassette deck. I'll talk about mini disc. I actually have Sony, that was their proprietary audio recording format that they made in the early 90s, where it was a tiny disc that could hold a full CD, and the disc was in a permanent plastic enclosure, which made it very durable. And they used magneto-optical technology, so you could keep rewriting on these little mini discs. That's what they were called mini discs for, over and over and over again. So I'm going to show you my mini disc recorder collection. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing here. And occasionally, like I just had a previous ASMR video with gameplay where I tell you life stories. Those will happen on occasion too. But yeah, this channel's going to be fun. I'm sure some of you are going to find it weird, or a lot of you are going to find it weird, and it may not be your bag, and that's okay. But I'm definitely excited to do this. I'm definitely excited to see what audience comes here. And this is kind of my new pet project. And if you subscribed and are enjoying this, thank you. Thank you for joining me on what's going to be another very bizarre journey. I hope you enjoyed this, my first ASMR video, even though it kind of sort of isn't, but it is, but it's not. And I hope you enjoyed my ASMR origin story. Sleep well.